uh, completed till verse 10, Canto 1, Chapter 3, and today we are going to continue from verse 11 of Srimad Bhagavatam. So far, what we had done was we have seen a couple of incarnations, that means his avatars, the avatars of Sri Krishna and various forms. This is just a kind of a, maybe a preface to what is going to be coming in the future. So just to give you an idea that Srimad Bhagavatam will have stories of all these avatars. All right. So now we had completed till an avatar which was supposed to be. Now he is an avatar who is meant to give the teachings. Okay, he's a great teacher, and this teacher is Kapila Muni. So till verse 10 we had done this. Kapila Muni is a great sage who passes on the information, the knowledge, and the Vedic rites, rituals, and everything to the people who come after him. That is, first he passes it on to his mother. Remember this. And then there are others. So there are those Brahmanas also who are from the Asuric wombs. So he has to pass on that knowledge to them. Now we are going to continue from verse 11 onwards. We are doing Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 3, verse 11. The sixth incarnation of the Purusha was the son of the sage Ch03. He was born from the womb of Anusuya, who prayed for the incarnation. He spoke on the subject of transcendence to Alarka, Prahlad, and others. That is Yadu and the Hayayas. I'm sure if you remember, Hayayas is the group of the tribes that are there, basically, one of the subsets. And their leader is called Sahasrahar Arjun, who is killed later on by Parshuram himself. So remember this story of the incarnation, which is the sixth incarnation of the Lord, is in the form of Atri Muni's son. I'm sure you know his name. His name was Dattatreya. Alright, so that is the form which he takes. And there is a very long story associated with Dattatreya. Since this is an introduction, we are not going into the story. We are just coming to know about the various incarnations that are going to be coming after this. Then the next incarnation that is there, which is called the seventh incarnation, that was Yagya, the son of Prajapati Ruchi, and his wife Akuti. He controlled the period during the change of the Swayambhu Manu and was assisted by demigods such as his son Yama. Now, this is a particular incarnation which is connected to the leadership quality. See, the gods also have their boss, isn't it? Like they have a king. He's a super boss of all the gods. And there is a super boss of all the demons also. All right. They have their guru. This person has their guru. So everybody has their leader, and they have the leader of the Ganas and the Danavas and all that. Everybody has a leader. So here the gods also have a king. That king is called Indradev. I'm sure you know about Indradev. So during this particular changeover, there was a changeover from one Manu to another. So one yuga had come to a complete end. Okay. So there one Manavantara, as we call it, the four yugas put together. All right. That is the Krita to Kali. That yugas have come to an end and a new yuga was starting. When the new yuga was starting, what did the Lord do? Since there was no Indradev available at that point in time, so he himself takes the form of Indradev. So in many aspects, like say for example, Brahmadev, the one who is the creator, is also the form which he takes. Likewise, he takes the form of Shiva, he takes the form of Agni, every kind of form he is taking. He is just becoming an incarnation. So here what has happened is the seventh incarnation was Yajna. Alright? And he was the son of Prajapati Ruchi. Prajapati is the king of all these things. That means he is the ruler, the super ruler of everything over there. Remember, Prajapati is there even in some other stories when we are doing, Shiv Puran. I'm sure you remember the stories of Shiv Puran. He is there as well. So understand this. There was a particular moment in time, a particular yuga was going through, and this particular yuga was the Swayambhu Manu. Swayambhu Manu's yuga. At that time, who took over the charge? Sri Krishna himself in the form of Yajna. Alright? And he was assisted by his demigods and his son Yama. So the first person who actually assisted him became the ruler Yama later on. So this is verse 12. Now we will move to the next one. Then there is the eighth incarnation. The eighth incarnation was King Rishabha, son of King Nabhi and his wife Meru Devi. In the incarnation, the Lord showed the path of perfection, which is followed by those who have fully controlled their senses and are ordered by all orders of life. See, everywhere in every incarnation, what is the main crux? You have to understand what is the main crux. The main crux is teaching. He comes to teach. So whether it is Sri Krishna's incarnation, Sri Ram's incarnation, or Kapila Muni's incarnation, Dattatraya's incarnation, or any incarnation which the Lord comes as, in every incarnation, he is a teacher. He teaches in that particular incarnation. Here also, what are we actually doing? We are learning the story of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is taught by one of his avatars, which we are going to cover, by the way. This avatar is Vyasdev. I'm sure you have heard of Vyasmuni. So Vyasmuni has given this entire story to his son. So his son is Sukdev. Sukdev in turn was talking about this, and Sutta Goswami heard it, and that is the reason why everywhere you will find Sutta says. Sutta Goswami says. Sutta. Alright? So there is a lineage. So even this scripture, which is called the Srimad Bhagavatam, is recited by the Lord himself. Similarly, you will find that there are various scriptures where the questions are asked by various munis and various gods. Now, these gods go and question either Mahavishnu, they go question Narada, they go question some of the great people in the particular scripture. They are being questioned and they are asked this question: can you please tell us this particular story of, let us say, Sri Krishna's story? Now, every time when they are questioned, the stories are given. The funny part about these stories is that they are told by somebody else. Okay, and whoever that person is talking, let's say for example, Shivji is talking about Sri Krishna. Now there is a particular scripture where Shivji, Shiva, is talking to his wife and telling her about the glories of Sri Krishna. And all the gods are there right in front of him listening to the glories. Now you will wonder, why is he talking about it? So there is a reason for talking about it, and that is the reason why we have to get these stories ourselves, isn't it? There are two things which we need to know, which will give us liberation. One is listening to the stories, which is what Parikshit is also doing just now. Isn't Parikshit doing the same thing? You listen to the stories of the Lord from a sage or a saint, you get liberation, right? And the second one, which is mentioned in the scriptures for the Kali Yuga, it is called the path of devotion. It is love and devotion which will lead you towards liberation. These two paths are very clear. Remember, in the path of liberation, you can sing songs, you can write poetry, you understand those kind of things. You can also do bhajans and kirtans and do whatever that takes you to the path of devotion. It is called love and devotion. And that is what we have to be clear about. So this path over here, this is a book, which is a scripture, which is a devotional scripture. Remember these words. All right. So now the next one. O Brahmanas, in the ninth incarnation, the Lord prayed for by the sages, accepted the body of a king, that is Prithu, who cultivated the land to yield various produces, and for that reason the earth was beautiful and attractive. Now, here is something which we need to know. What is it that we need to know? The first agriculturist, the person who actually brought agriculture on earth, that agriculturist, or the person who tilled the land and sowed seeds and various other things, and he cultivated the crops and so on and so forth, he was King Prithu. He was a great agriculturist. Naturally, in olden times, you will find that when people were roaming around in the jungles, they had to either pluck berries or fruits or some leaves and some kind of a thing, or they would have killed the animals, because that is the way of life. You will find that even various of our scriptures talk about there are hunters. Even in all the scriptures, have you seen that there are hunter kings? They go out hunting. So hunting was a very, very common thing during ancient times. But agriculture was not, because it is a activity which has to be done in a particular manner. First, you have to till the soil. See, if you don't have a good soil, you cannot plant your crops. You should know this. So, King Prithu, that is his ninth incarnation. Now, how many incarnations have happened so far? Nine so far. And we always think that there are only Dash avatars, isn't it? That's what we think, isn't it? So there are only Dash avatars of Vishnu or Sri Krishna's himself. No, 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 no. There are various other avatars. The 10 avatars, they are the greater avatars. There are lesser avatars also. So this particular avatar, Dattatraya's avatar, is not mentioned anywhere. Is it mentioned anywhere? No. Because that is not in the 10. All right. Again, there are various other avatars we did just now. Kapila Muni. Kapila Muni's avatar is not mentioned at all. Why? Because he was a minor avatar. There was some small amount of work that was to be done. But there are major avatars. So we are bothered about the major avatar. So Prithu is not that greater avatar as compared to the other avatars. So that is the reason why his job is only as an agriculturist. Now, the next one. When there was complete inundation after the period of Chakshu Manu, and the whole world was deep within waters, the Lord accepted the form of a fish and protected Vaivashvata Manu, keeping him on a boat. Now, this is one mistake which people do. What is this mistake? I will tell you. See, the mistake which everybody does is they think that the first avatar which came about was the Matsya avatar. This is the Matsya avatar we are talking about. Matsya means fish, all right? No, it is not like that. It is dependent on which Manavantra we are talking about. There are set of yugas, four yugas, four yuga, four yuga, four yuga, four yuga, like that. There are various yugas. In some yuga, one particular series of yoga, the avatars which are there can be slightly different. You will find that there are those Rishi Munis also. See, there are various Sapta Rishis as we call them, and there are various other Rishi Munis. Sometimes the Sapta Rishis are different. They are not the same. So in one Manvantara, the Sapta Rishis could be different, depending on which yuga we are talking about, which manavantara we are talking about. So that is the reason why always remember this, that the Matsya avatar has come in a particular yuga, in a particular manvantara. So which manvantara is written over here? Chakshusa Manu. That is the particular Manu which was there at that point in time. The earth was underwater. All right. So, and the whole world was deep within waters, the Lord accepted the form of fish and protected Vaivasvat Manu, keeping him on a boat. So there is a certain reason. why this happens. Now again, you may ask, if the whole thing comes to an end at Kali Yuga, what happens to the earth? What happens to this? What happens? Isn't that what you are going to ask the question? Well, you have to understand it. Today, we are trying to preserve, isn't it? We are trying to preserve seeds and other things. Are we not trying to do that? So, there are places in the north of this world. Okay, they are in Greenland or in North Pole or wherever. I don't know the place. There we have a granary where we are saving the seeds for the future. Isn't that what we are doing? Exactly the same thing was done during the transference of one yuga to the next one. That means one four set is over. So the Kali Yuga is over in one particular Manu's domain. Then the next domain has to start, isn't it? So the seed from the previous is then brought back in. All right. And that is why the revival happens. So here also he is saying the same thing. So Vavasvat Manu was there. He had to be saved. That is why this incarnation was taken of the fish, Matsya avatar. The 11th incarnation of the Lord took the form of a tortoise, whose shell served as a pivot for the Mandarachala hills, which is being used as a churning rod by the theist and the atheist of the universe. Now, when he says theist and the atheist, don't go by these terminologies, okay? There is nothing called theist or atheist. All right, these are nothing but gods and demons. We just call them gods and demons. Now we are not allowed to call them gods and demons, but that is exactly what it is. So during the churning of the ocean, remember there was a churning of the ocean which happened. Hmm? Now during this churning of the ocean, what happened? You need something in the center to churn, isn't it? Have you seen in villages and all, how do we churn the butter? The milk and all that, the dahi, the curd is being churned in which fashion? You will find that in the center is one rod which is having those edges, and then we have the two strings on two sides, and we do it this way, isn't it? Again, even in let us say tug of war also, what are we doing? We are doing the same thing. One party pulls on one side, the other party pulls, exactly like that. So here the churning of the ocean was happening, and because the churning of the ocean was happening, there was one particular avatar which the Lord had to take. Okay. This avatar is the tortoise avatar. Okay. Now remember, the tortoise has got a hard shell, isn't it, on top? Hmm? He can go inside the shell, no? You have seen a tortoise, how it, how it goes inside the shell. So he is taken a form, and on that there is a hill which was put upside down like this, and then it was churned by the snake. You remember the snake is there. So all this you got to know. These are stories which are going to be there in the future. So we are just touching upon this kind of a topic so that you get an idea what is going to come. Then verse 17 says, in the 12th incarnation the Lord appeared as Dhanvantari, and in the 13th, he allured the demons by the charming beauty of a woman and gave nectar to the demigods to drink. So here we have the Lord is also taking the form of a woman. All right, we'll come to it, don't worry. So, what exactly does he do? He is taking the form of Mohini. Remember, he has to enchant those demons, right? So, first form, that is the 12th form, is called Dhanvantari. Dhanvantari is the physician general, surgeon general, or whatever you call him. He's the super boss. He gives medications and stuff like that. All right. So, all that has come from the past. You have seen. So, when we say who has given us these medicines also, because we have a lot of afflictions, we have diseases, we have afflictions, operations have to be done, well, drugs have to be given. Ozempic also is coming in the picture. So all these things are nothing but drugs, isn't it? So they have to be given, they have to be brought on the earth. Who is going to bring? So the Lord takes a form, and that form is called Dhanvantari form. All right. So all these forms are Sri Krishna's forms only. All right. Then he takes one more form because he has to entice all the demons. See, the demons, what does demon mean? Demon doesn't mean a demon, okay? So he's not going to have two fangs over here and two horns over there. That is all crap. Don't go into all that thing, okay? They don't have those horns. They look like ordinary human beings. They are ordinary human beings, but having a demonical nature. Hmm? Now, this demonical nature, are they falling for wine, women, and all that? Yes or no? Of course. You'll find that all the movies they will show, they'll sit with a glass of wine and they will be enjoying one woman dancing over there and all that kind of crap they show in the movies and all that. You may think, where is it all coming from? So here it is. So here the Lord takes the form of Mohini. Okay. Means enchantress or enticer. Okay. Mohini means that. Then, the 14th incarnation, the Lord appeared as Narsimha and bifurcated the strong body of Hiranyakashyap and with his nails, just as a carpenter would tear a piece of cane. You know, the cane we just separate it out like this. So, what did the Lord do? He took one form, and that form was half man and half lion. You remember that, no? That is why he's called Nar Simha. Nar means a human, Simha. Simha means lion, correct? So a half human and a half animal form. So that particular form, which had fantastic nails and all, you see, we use the nails, no, for tearing something like we had the teeth and all that kind of thing. Similarly, he took this form. Why? Because you will find that there was a demon who was troubling his son and everybody around. So he had to take that form. There are no choices. So he took the form and killed Hiranyakashyap. Alright. Then the 15th incarnation, the Lord assumed the form of dwarf Brahmana, which is Vamana avatar, and visited the arena of sacrifices arranged by Bali Maharaj. Although at heart he was willing to regain the kingdom of the three planetary system, he simply asked for a donation of the 3 steps of land. This story is also known to you all. He takes the form of a Vaman avatar. During whose reign? During the reign of Bali Maharaj. Bali Maharaj comes from Prahlad's reign only, that particular, a demonical womb. So naturally, but he was a great devotee of the Lord. Naturally, being a great devotee of the Lord, he did not recognize the Lord. I mean, today, if the Lord comes and stands in front of you, you're not going to recognize him because he's not going to come in that finery, dressed in that purple color garment and stuff like that. And no. He may come wearing a shirt and a pant also. Well, how do you know? The Lord is free to come in whichever form, isn't it? He's the Lord. He's a great boss himself. The boss can come in any form. So he's not going to come with a dhoti and one Dhanusha Ban and all that kind of. That is only what we say as our imagination. See, if we imagine Lord in that fashion. The Lord doesn't come in that fashion. Totally. And that is the reason why when he comes in the form of a dwarf, a small boy, a small guy like this, and he comes and tells Bali Maharaj, I want 3 steps of land. Now, Bali Maharaj naturally assumes that, oh, look at this short fellow. He's a Bona, he's a short guy, no? Naturally, looking at him, nobody can recognize he's the Lord. Okay. So he says, okay, I'll give you the 3 steps of land that is required. And this story is well known. So this is also one of the stories which we are going to be doing. Now, next one we will go to. So we are doing verse 20. In the 16th incarnation of Godhead, the Lord annihilated the Kshatriyas 21 times, being angry with them because of their rebellion against the Brahmanas. So understand, whose avatar we are talking about over here? I think we all know this avatar because we are doing the scripture ourselves, isn't it? We are doing another scripture which is called the Tripura Rahasyam. Okay, in that Dattatreya, one of the avatars, you remember, that avatar of Sri Krishna is teaching this avatar. So, it is the 16th avatar of Sri Krishna. This is Bhrigu's son. Okay. And his job was to destroy all these leader people, people who were leading others, because there was a lot of mayhem in this world. They were ill-treating people, and there were a lot of things. Remember, there was a particular king of the Hayaya tribe. I told you about it. Hayaya tribe was there, and then there was a Naga tribe, and then there were various other tribals there at that time. And these tribals were killing and destroying people. Okay. Now, at that moment in time, during the time when this avatar was, now I'm sure you remember the name of the avatar is Parshuram. Parshu means an axe. Ram means the Ram that we are talking about. This Ram is Parshuram, and that is Sri Ram. All right, that is different Ram. This is different Ram. Don't mix up these two. So Parshuram is an eternal avatar. He doesn't go away. Like Dattatreya is an eternal avatar, Parshuram is an eternal avatar. He is always there. Why is he there? He is there because all these leaders of this world, they become tyrants, isn't it? Right? You will find that all these great leaders, and there are all these dictators and this and that. What do they become? They get a lot of money, they do hoarding, they do kind of nonsensical stuff in this world. And these people have to be destroyed. So who is the one who destroys this particular breed of people? This avatar is called the Parshuram avatar. So whenever there is atrocity created or done by any bad person who is a ruler, here he is mentioned as Kshatriya. There Kshatriya doesn't mean Kshatriya at all. Kshatriya means the leader amongst men. Okay. And Brahmanas is the knower of Brahma. So these two distinctions you should know very well. So Parshuram avatar came and he killed all these Kshatriyas, these leaders, 21 times. And the last time what happened? He meets Sri Ram. He doesn't recognize Sri Ram. So this avatar is eternal. So he doesn't recognize Sri Ram and he fights with him. And later on comes to know that here we are seeing Sri Ram. So that is the 16th incarnation of the Lord. Now we come to the 17th incarnation. Thereafter, in the 17th incarnation of the Lord, Sri Vyasdev, that is Vyasamuni, appeared in the womb of Satyavati through Parashara Muni. This story I had already told you about Parashara Muni, how it happened. He divided one Veda into several branches and sub branches, seeing that the people in general were less intelligent. As the Yuga passes, people lose their intelligence. Please remember this. You become very focused in one field. Earlier, you could also dwell on spiritual and material world, but today you will find that spiritual is very few. There are very few people can understand the Vedas and the scriptures. Then nobody understands it. So they are there. So those kind of people, we need more of them in this world, isn't it? We are not talking about religion over here. We are talking about spiritualism. Knowing the spirit within, that is what is important. Knowing the spirit within, nothing outside. There is no God anywhere standing there and all that. We have to recognize the God within. That is what he is talking about. So this particular avatar which we are talking about, Vyas Muni, he came into the picture as an incarnation of the Lord, and his job was, because people were literally dunces, they had very little knowledge. So what he had to do, he had to break down these Vedas, and he broke them down into different short ones, so that some people can remember. And then from there started this particular methodology of transferring this knowledge verbally from one person to the other. Even Srimad Bhagavatam, is it not recited? It is recited, isn't it? This is the story of the Lord. In the 18th incarnation, the Lord appeared as King Ram in order to perform pleasing work for the demigods. He exhibited superhuman powers by controlling the Indian Ocean and then killing the King Ravana, who was on the other side of the sea. So then we have another incarnation which we all think about in India. India is a country where we think of Sri Ram and Sri Ram all the time. So here is the which form? 18th incarnation. He is not the seventh or the no. He is the 18th incarnation of the Lord. So during that particular time, the knowledge was, yes, you have to win over this particular king, and this happened in this yuga, this current yuga. That is why it is called the Sri Ram particular yuga is called Treta, like that. In the 19th and the 20th incarnation, the Lord came as Lord Balrama and Sri Krishna in the family of the Yadus, the Vrishnis. And by doing so, he removed the burden of this world. So then he comes with another form. Which form? His original form. So Sri Krishna appeared simultaneously as his original form. Okay? It was a Purna avatar. Now, the Purna avatar which we are going to talk about is not Purna the way you look at it, because he came as a partial, that is half. So first, what is the half? First is Balram, and the second half is called Sri Krishna. So Adishesha took the form of Balram, Adishesha if you know correctly, and then we have Sri Krishna. Sri Krishna took the form of Sri Krishna himself. So the name is the same. Okay, there and there the name is the same. Then in the beginning of Kali Yuga, the Lord appeared as Buddha, the son of Anjana, in the province of Gaya for the purpose of deluding who are envious of the faithful believers. So what did he do in the next avatar? He appeared as King Buddha, that is Buddha. We call him Gautam Buddha, isn't it? So there is a mention of this avatar as well. All right. And why was this particular avatar taken? Because the start of a new series had begun during that time. Remember, this was around 2500 plus years ago. And during that time, there were lots of new religions were coming into the picture. So to put those people out of sync with whatever that was happening, some kind of a system was developed where everybody followed something wrong. All right. Then we come to the next verse where he says, thereafter, at the conjugation of the two yugas, the Lord of the creation will take his birth as Kalki incarnation and become the son of Vishnu Yasha. At this time, the ruler of the earth will have degenerated into plunderers. Now, we are currently in this yuga. In this yuga, everything is going down very fast. And everybody is plundering every other person. That means there is no goodness left in the world today. You will find that this particular yuga, everybody is out to kill another person, everybody is out to loot another person, everybody is doing all the wrong things in the one, everybody is a tamasic person, everybody is lazy, angry, upset over things happening in this world. Okay, one person is cheating, another person is cheating, another person, it goes on and on and on. Now in this yuga, we need an avatar of the Lord, which is called the Kalki avatar. This Kalki avatar appears at the fag end of the yuga. So the Kali Yuga's last end, this particular avatar will come. O Brahmana, the incarnations of the Lords are innumerable, like rivulets flowing from inexhaustible sources of water. So here he is saying that these incarnations are so many that we cannot even count them. So far we have done a number of incarnations, and we have come to verse 26, and we will stop over here for today.